Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Nahala. I'm the founder of Spiritual Tech Systems. And in this video, we are going to dive into the Pareto Principle, or the 80-20 rule. It's a framework for prioritization that can help you make your life more efficient and more focused on actually doing what you love. So this video is actually going to be a call recording from one of our community sessions. And like I mentioned, core to what we do here is supporting visionaries like you, mission-driven individuals who have a message and offer to share with the world, bring their purpose into life. So we give you the structure, the support, the community that is needed to get you to go step by step from wherever you are today to actually having a thriving, successful business that allows you to stay focused on doing what you love. So with that, let's dive into the actual session, and I hope you enjoy.
Today's topic is 80-20 rule. And I used to work as a consultant at McKinsey, and 80-20 rule is something that would come up all the time. And what it is, if you've never heard of it, it's the Pareto Principle. So it was created by this economist who recognized, looking at his garden of peas, that 80% of his peas come from 20% of the pea plants. And he was like, huh, that's interesting. And then he looked and he noticed, he was Italian, and he saw that in Italy, 80% of the land is owned by 20% of the people. And it's this statistical thing that you see all across on a global scale. And when we start to look at ourselves as individuals, we can also notice this heuristic. So it's not a hard and fast rule, but it's a general trend that we can kind of notice. So a similar parallel to this, there's something that's called Zipf's law. It's in linguistics, and similarly, so 20% of words make up 80% of all spoken language. When we look at wealth distribution across the world, 80% of global wealth is controlled by 20% of people. Traffic, 20% of roads handle about 80% of the congestion. So it's just this thing that we start to notice. And the reason I'm bringing up the 80-20 rule is that it's a tool to help us when we feel there's so many tasks and things are overwhelming and we don't know what to focus on. It's a good framework to start to prioritize and see the bigger picture, get out of those details, and then reframe our time, our energy, our focus on what actually is going to drive results. You'll see it a lot in business. Again, same principle. 20% of clients might lead to 80% of our revenue. So when we start to notice as we make sales, as we grow the business, where actually our revenue is coming from, then we can refocus our time, energy, and investment into, not completely, but like more of it into that part to develop it. When we think about it in terms of our self and our habits, where we spend our time, where we spend our energy, our attention, we can start to be more strategic. We can start to reduce or eliminate some of the tasks or the distractions that we might be spinning our wheels on, so to speak. And then we can invest more of our time into these areas where we have the highest impact, where it brings us the most energy, joy, the highest return on investment, right? It lets us set boundaries. So when people ask for things or internal things come up, that we have these boundaries and we know, okay, reflecting on this 80-20 principle, I could, like for an example, I used to spend a ton of time like perfecting websites. Like everything I would make, I would spend so much time figuring out the exact right word, the exact right color, the right design. And we would spend so much time like putting things together. And it didn't have that big of an impact, right? If we had looked at the 80-20 rule and said, even if I spend all this time perfecting this color of this website, if nobody is landing on the website, we still don't make a sale. If the messaging is not aligned with what somebody's looking for, we still don't make a sale. It doesn't have that impact. What I'd like for us to do together is take a moment to reflect. So ask yourself, What activities in your life give you the highest return on investment in your life, in your work? So take a moment to think about your life and see, okay, these are some of the things that I do that I see bring me the most joy, that bring me the most results. Maybe it yields in more sales, maybe more awareness for your brand, for what you're working on, your mission. Take a moment to think of those activities that give you the highest return on your investment. And if you have a piece of paper, you can write them down. Once you have them written down, now let's look at the flip side. So, if you again reflect on your life and what you spend your time and energy on, what are some tasks or activities that feel like distractions for you? That feel like all that they do is really just create busyness, but they don't result in an impact. They don't actually uplift your business, they don't uplift you. And write down some of those tasks, some of those activities that you find yourself engaging in that you recognize for yourself to be a distraction. Take a moment to write those down. And it's interesting because sometimes these things are invisible to us because it's just how we work or just how we operate and we're used to it. But when we take stock, when we actually look and see, recognizing Pareto's law kind of helps us see the bigger picture of what's going on, helps us get unstuck, and helps us refocus. Okay, so once you have written down or reflected on the things that feel like distractions and create busyness, the next question: who are the people? What is the environment that truly uplifts and supports your growth? So, similarly, surrounding yourself, creating an environment for yourself that is supportive for you, that is uplifting for you, that motivates you, that inspires you to move forward. Take a moment to think of that and to write it down. And this helps us really tune into creating an environment for success where we can be productive, energized, and moving towards our goals. Okay, so now some more nuanced questions to keep narrowing in and seeing. Because sometimes, even when we have this broad question, it's like bringing our attention, bringing our focus to try and start to see where we should actually focus our energy and where we should try to shift away from. So now it is giving us scenarios so that we can really dive in. So the first question is, if I worked half as much, what tasks would I cut first? So let's say you had only half the amount of time. What would you focus on? What would you remove? What would you change about what you're doing? It's like, yeah, in Buddhism, they talk about using death as an advisor. It's like when you have that forcing function, it makes it clear what actually matters. When we don't have that, we follow certain routines and patterns in our lives without really consciously thinking about it. But when we're like, oh, if I were to die tomorrow, what would I do today? Different level of it, of course, but it's a way to make clear what's going on in our minds. So now the next one, if you had only 2 hours a day, what would you focus those 2 hours on? Cool. So when you have that, what is something that gives you energy, results, or joy that you're currently neglecting? Something that every time you do it, you're like, wow, that was amazing. That was so inspiring. That gave me so much energy. I feel so alive. But somehow, for whatever reason, when it doesn't come up, you forget about it. You know, for me, I live in Hawaii, so when I go to the ocean, every time I'm there, I'm like, oh my God, it's so awesome. And then when I'm sitting in my room working, I forget and I'm like, ah. And then the next time someone invites me back to go to the ocean, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. So there's things like that we can incorporate into our lives more, that like this balance that keeps us motivated, inspired, and moving forward. Awesome. So now what I want to do, since we've reflected and seen a little bit about what are the distractions and what are the aspects that do give us the highest ROI that we feel the most return from or the most impact when we focus on. I want to do a short guided meditation, a visualization exercise where we'll see ourselves going throughout the day in this state. Like we talked about, you can shift your state, and we've done a couple visualization exercises where we've seen success for ourselves. So, similarly, the more and more that we can connect with and align ourselves with this aspect of ourselves, the more natural it becomes to us and the easier it is for us to act in this way throughout our day. So take a moment to just settle in wherever you're at. Take a few deep breaths. Release any tension, any stress from your body, any busyness that you might feel in your mind. Let yourself be here fully in this moment. And now I want you to see yourself waking up in the morning, happy, bright, positive, excited for the day, knowing that whatever comes up, you are capable, you are strong, and you'll find the way through. And I want you to see yourself going about your day, doing the things that you identified that bring you energy, that bring you joy, that have a significant impact for your work, that move the needle forward. See what that looks like for you. See how it makes you feel in your body as you're doing it, as you're working on it, as you submit it, or as you talk to that person or create that thing. Really feel into what it feels like in your body in this moment that you're doing it right now. You're living that day. And now, let's say one of those distractions that you recognize come up. But you're in the flow, you're in the zone, and this is a distraction. I could spend 4 hours just doing this. But wait, I know this is a distraction. And so you avoid it. You're like, oh no, I know. So instead, I'm going to do this. Or I'm going to time box this because I know I have a tendency to get lost in this. So here's what I'll do. I'll set a timer. I'll only do this for 20 minutes and see where I get. Whatever I end up with at the end of the 20 minutes is fine. See yourself skillfully recognizing the distractions, coming up with a plan, and refocusing on what matters. See yourself taking breaks, doing what you need to do to rejuvenate yourself, maybe to go out into nature, to take a walk, to talk to someone who uplifts you, who motivates you, a close friend, a partner, a business partner, excited about the same mission, the same work that you're doing. Really feel and see this day, see this state that you're in, how it feels in your body, how it feels in your mind, in your heart, to live like this, to live fully, moment by moment, your day in a way that's aligned, in a way that's bright. See yourself going through the course of this full day. And now, see that the day is winding to an end. You've done all the things that you needed to do. You're feeling like it was a fulfilling day, that you're satisfied. The most important things you really wanted to do, you prioritized, you got them done. or if and where it took more, it was unexpected, you were able to handle it and you're satisfied with how it turned out. And you get into your bed, excited for tomorrow to do it all again and see what comes up. Really feel this openness, the energy flowing through your body, the sense of alignment, the sense of purpose, the sense of joy filling your being. Wonderful. So, whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Awesome. That was really cool. Remember this state as you're going about your day. Once you've looked at, prioritized, and focused on what you want to focus on, it's a really great way to tune into that state of being and bring that into your life. Awesome. Thanks for going through it together. What I want to leave us with is an action item for this week. So give me just a second and I will share my screen again. Okay, so based on today's session, what you reflected on, what the visualization brought up for you, I want you to write down and commit to yourself one thing that you want to eliminate or reduce, and one thing that you want to amplify starting today. And here are the two guiding questions, the two questions to ask yourself as you're deciding what's one thing that I do regularly that takes a lot of time but has little impact on my goals? What is one thing that I do that creates massive impact but I don't do enough of? So take some time to make this commitment. And in many of these sessions, we give one small action item, but little by little, as you shift these habits, as you shift these patterns, as you start to, yeah, shift your state and notice the distractions as they come up, refocus on what you need to do, recognize that you're capable of it. It starts to happen. You start to see it in your life. So, yeah, thank you, everyone. This was an awesome session when we were doing the exercise, the visualization. I don't know about you, but what I felt really like the strongest thing for me was just, yeah, feeling that place and that state of mind and that awareness. And the feeling of that in our bodies is such a cool thing. And then it serves as like this guiding post for when I'm not in that state, when I'm doing things that like sometimes I overwork and that I notice like my physiology changes. And so, how to remember what balanced, productive work looks like, feels like. And it's a temperature check. There's a great book, and in it, they talk about one of the parts I really like. They talk about everyone kind of works in this balanced way where it's like that saying, when it's time to work, work, when it's time to rest, rest. And in this, they go out and they do their work and they say, if you work too hard, like if you're doing too much work, then you develop meanness. So you don't want to work too hard. But if you're too lazy, then you have bad dreams or something like that. And the society is based around dreams. But again, it's this principle of, yeah, like seeing what's needed and working to the level that we should and resting to the level that we should and finding that balance. And it's a process. So, yeah, thank you, everybody. This was great. And I'll see you next week. Take
Thank you
care.
so much. Great class today.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, so that was the session. I hope you liked it. As always, if you like this content, I invite you to please comment and subscribe. Definitely comment and let me know where you are at in your journey, what you are looking for, and what tools, what support could actually help you take that next step. And what you share influences what I create because my work is really to support you if you are someone, like I mentioned, who has an offering to share with the world. You have this beautiful intention in your heart, and for some reason or the other, you feel stuck or you've started and you haven't been able to amplify it yet, I want to help you succeed. I know that it's possible, and now more than ever, it's easier. So let's get you to success in every meaning of the word. And if you haven't watched my video about success and what it really means, I'll put the video wherever it's chosen. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, subscribe, leave a comment if you can, and let's get you to your uncommonly fine life. Thank you and bye.